By the time the cops pulled up, Beverly Crandall, president of the Eden Oaks Homeowners Association, was already in my passenger seat, clutching her 3-ring violation binder like a life raft. She had climbed into my convertible without asking, snapped her seatbelt on, and jabbed a French manicured finger at the road. "Drive me to City Hall," she ordered. "We are filing an injunction against your vehicle lifestyle." Red and blue lights washed over the cul-de-sac. Beverly squinted at them, then at me. "Did you call them?" she hissed. I did not answer. My phone was still hooked up to Bluetooth, the call log glowing on the dash. Non-emergency police line. Connected. 1642. An officer stepped up to the car. "Ma'am, step out of the vehicle." "It is his car," she snapped. "I am the HOA president. I authorize it. He is operating an unlicensed rideshare. That is a violation of—" She did not finish the sentence. The officer gently but firmly took her arm, and when the handcuffs clicked, Beverly Crandall, self-appointed queen of landscaping standards, broke down in the front seat of my convertible and started sobbing. "This is a misunderstanding," she choked. "I am just trying to protect property values." The officer looked at me over the roof of the car. "Mr. Hale," he said, "you said you had months of documentation?" I nodded. "And that is how we got here. My name is Marcus Hale. I bought the stucco and brick 2-story at the end of Hawthorne Loop because the realtor promised 3 things. Quiet street. Mature trees. Very engaged community. Number 3 turned out to be code for HOA with too much time and not enough hobbies. I am a software consultant. I work from home, do not throw parties, and my wildest habit is drinking coffee on my back patio while debugging other people's terrible code. My one indulgence is a midnight blue convertible, 10 years old, well-maintained, polished on Sundays. When I moved into Eden Oaks, Beverly Crandall introduced herself within 12 minutes. Short blonde bob. Pastel cardigan. HOA name badge even though no one asked for that. "I am the association president," she said, giving my car a disapproving once-over. "We pride ourselves on order here, Mr. Hale." "It is just Marcus," I answered. Her eyes rested on the convertible again. "We are very protective of property values." It sounded less like a statement and more like a threat. At the time, I chalked it up to garden-variety suburban weirdness. I nodded, smiled, and went back inside. I had no idea that in Beverly's head, I had already become an ongoing violation. The first notice showed up 2 weeks later. Friendly reminder. Garage door open more than 7 minutes. Security and aesthetic concern. 7 minutes. I laughed, shrugged, and emailed the HOA asking where that was in the bylaws. Beverly answered in 32 seconds. "It is an interpretive guideline under Section 4, Visual Harmony." The second notice was not as friendly. Improper exterior coloration. Non-neutral vehicle. Apparently, my convertible, parked in my driveway, was visually disruptive to the natural palette of the neighborhood. Then came unauthorized wind chime noise event. My single bamboo wind chime. Suspicious activity. Male with laptop frequently seen at home during daytime. That was me working from home. Potential commercial use. Multiple Amazon packages monthly. Beverly started walking her dog past my house 6, 7 times a day, phone out, snapping pictures. If I opened the blinds, she pretended to be taking a photo of a cloud. The next door posts followed. Anyone else concerned about unusual cars and delivery traffic near Hawthorne Loop? Some people think HOA rules are optional. Then one afternoon I caught her in my side yard, halfway up my driveway, literally measuring my trash cans with a tape measure, muttering, 2 inches over the allowable height. When I stepped outside, she jumped. "This is an inspection," she snapped. "You agreed to it when you moved here." I had not. But I started saving everything after that. Emails, notices, photos, just in case. Turned out that was the smartest thing I ever did. The turning point was the illegal rideshare operation. It started when my coworker Noah's car died. I picked him up a few mornings that week, him hopping into the convertible with a coffee and a laptop bag. Beverly saw us once. By that afternoon, An all-caps email went out to the neighborhood list. Be aware, unauthorized commercial taxi service may be operating within Eden Oaks. Please report any suspicious male in Convertible making repeated pickups. She did not stop there. I found a letter taped crookedly to my front door, stamped with the HOA logo she had clearly designed in Microsoft Word. Cease and desist. Commercial transportation. You are hereby ordered by the Eden Oaks Homeowners Association to immediately cease any Uber, Lyft, taxi-style activity from your residence. Failure to comply may result in liens, fines, and legal escalation. I almost ignored it, until 2 days later, a patrol car slowly rolled past my house, then a second one an hour later. The officer was polite. We received an anonymous report about possible unlicensed ride-for-hire activity. I showed him my messages with Noah, my actual 9-to-5 job, and my very boring life. His eyes narrowed when I mentioned the HOA president's name. We have had calls from her before, he said carefully. I realized Beverly was not just annoying. She was weaponizing the police. That night, I built a folder on my computer titled HOA Nonsense, Evidence. Screenshots. Recorded voicemails. Doorbell cam footage of her creeping onto my property. And when she finally climbed into my car, that folder was the reason everything flipped. It happened on a Tuesday. I was heading to meet a friend for lunch, top down, keys in the ignition, Bluetooth connecting. I had just backed halfway down the driveway when Beverly stormed over like she had been lying in wait. Stop the car, she shouted. I did, mostly because I did not want to hit her. She yanked open the passenger door, shoved her binder onto the seat, and climbed in like she had every right. We are going to City Hall, she announced. You are going to admit in writing that you have been running an illegal business from your home. Get out of my car, Beverly. She folded her arms. HOA has authority to compel compliance through reasonable means. Consider this reasonable. That sentence was so insane it reset my fear back to amusement. I quietly tapped my steering wheel, activating the voice command. Call non-emergency police. Beverly stopped mid-rant as the car chimed and the speaker clicked. County Dispatch, what is your emergency? This is Marcus Hale on Hawthorne Loop in Eden Oaks, I said calmly. A neighbor just entered my vehicle without permission and is refusing to get out. History of harassment. I have documented evidence. I would like an officer. Beverly's jaw dropped. You cannot, I will call them too. She whipped out her phone and, right in front of me, dialed 911. Hello, yes, this is HOA President Beverly Crandall, she said, voice shaking with righteous fury. My neighbor is running an illegal taxi service and is threatening me. I just entered his vehicle to document it, and now I am scared to get out. She looked at me as she lied. That was the moment the power actually shifted. Not when the cops were called, but when she got comfortable lying on record. All I had to do was wait. The first officer on scene recognized my address immediately. He walked up to my door, saw Beverly parked in my front seat like a furious parrot, and exhaled. Ma'am, can you step out of the vehicle? He asked. She clutched the binder. I am the HOA president. He has been running an unlicensed taxi service for weeks. I am conducting an enforcement ride. I feel very unsafe. The officer's eyebrow did a slow, skeptical lift. You entered his vehicle voluntarily? It is our neighborhood, she corrected. The HOA is technically. I leaned on the steering wheel. Officer, my dashcam has been recording since I turned the key. I also have months of emails, notices, and security footage of her trespassing. She called 911 and lied. You heard her. I called non-emergency and told the truth. You can compare the tapes. Another squad car pulled up. A second officer walked over with the dispatcher's notes on a tablet. His expression went from neutral to resigned to irritated in about 3 seconds. So, he said, looking at Beverly, you told 911 that you were being threatened. But dispatch can hear you initiating the confrontation. You also said he has been operating a commercial taxi business, but you have never seen money exchanged? He must be. She insisted. He has a convertible, and a man with that kind of car is clearly making money in shady ways. The officer actually closed his eyes for a moment like he was counting to 10. "Ma'am," he said, "exaggerating or fabricating emergencies is a crime. Entering someone's vehicle without permission is also a crime. We have had repeated, unfounded complaints from you about this address. That is not, I am defending property values. Step out of the car." When the cuffs came out, Beverly's tough facade cracked like cheap tile. "You cannot do this to me," she sobbed. "I run Eden Oaks. He is the one destroying everything." Neighbors had quietly gathered by then. Someone was recording. Another whispered, "About time." I just sat there in my convertible, hands on the wheel, watching the HOA president get loaded into the back of a patrol car directly in front of my visually disruptive driveway. Karma, it turns out, looks a lot like mirrored sunglasses and a clipboard. The fallout was shockingly efficient. The police report included filing a false 911 report, trespassing, unauthorized entry into a vehicle, and ongoing harassment. My HOA nonsense evidence folder? The detective described it as thorough enough to be a training manual. Beverly struck a deal. A year of probation, mandatory counseling, community service, and a restraining order preventing her from contacting me or stepping within 300 feet of my property. She also had to reimburse my legal fees, which totaled nearly $8,000. When the judge read the sentence, Beverly's face went from red to white in seconds. $8,000? She whispered. "Your Honor, I cannot." The judge cut her off. "You weaponized emergency services, harassed a neighbor for months, and entered his vehicle without consent. You are fortunate this is not jail time." Beverly sank into her chair, hands trembling, and for the first time since I had met her, she had absolutely nothing to say.